Sunday morning to you. A special thank you to each of you that are here on this very rainy, heavy rain morning. As we were saying earlier, we got the few, the faithful, the cornerstones. I think we can just go ahead and take that. No one's here to say that's not true. We're not. So we can go ahead and just claim that for ourselves. So I am glad to be here today. Thanks for being here. We are Presbyterian Church of the Covenant in Greensboro, North Carolina. Welcome to those here in person. Also, welcome to those who are joining us online. We are glad that you are with us. You can find out more about us at athinkingchurch.org. We appreciate you doing that. There's also a donate button. As you're watching online, you're probably seeing that this isn't the highest quality broadcast that you've seen online, but it's what we can do. But we do count on your donations so that we're able to do this and at some point maybe upgrade it and make it a little better. So please consider doing that. For those that are here, remember that our offering basket is on the back table. Take an opportunity to catch that before you go out. And of course, we have Hope and Honor on with us today. Thank y'all so much. It's always a real joy to have you with us. I'm going to do a couple of readings, and I know you'll get rid of that and finish it fast so we can get back to them. So we're going to do just that. My first reading is coming from Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 21. You know, it's interesting. From time to time, I intentionally read from the King James Version because there's a particular church member who always asks me to read from the King James Version. They're not here today either. So we'll read it anyway. Hear now these words. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For wherever your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Then we have blessing, meaning to the reading of these words. I also want to read to you from a writing by Dr. Yuval Noah Harari. Some of you may know him. He's a professor from the Department of History at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. But you may know him more from the fact that he's the author of this amazing book called Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. He has this to say. The capitalist and the consumerist ethics are two sides of the same coin, a merger of two commandments. The supreme commandment of the rich is invest. The supreme commandment of the rest of us is buy. The capitalist consumerist ethic is revolutionary in another respect. Most previous ethical systems presented people with a pretty tough deal. They were promised paradise, but only if they cultivated compassion and tolerance, overcame craving and anger, and restrained their selfish interests. This was too tough for most. The history of ethics is a wonderful, sad tale of wonderful ideals that nobody can live up to. Most Christians did not imitate Christ. Most Buddhists failed to follow Buddha. And most Confucians would have caused Confucius a temper tantrum. In contrast, most people today successfully live up to the capitalist consumerist ideal. The new ethic promises paradise on the condition that the rich remain greedy and spend their time making more money, and that the masses give free rein to their cravings and passion and buy more and more. This is the first religion in history whose followers actually do what they're asked to do. How though do we know that we'll really get paradise in return? We've seen it on television. My message this morning is entitled A Little Less Consumeristmas. As Christmas quickly approaches, it gets harder and harder to not get caught up in the consumerism that has come to, unfortunately, kind of define the season. You see, it seems to me that consumerism, the commercialization of Christmas, to be precise, is trying to, in some ways has taught us that the real love is sort of narrow and very focused. It's centered around only the people that are closest to us. And then on top of that, consumerism teaches us that we express that love best in giving our loved ones stuff. Now, if we listen to TV ads and even to, well, the culture itself, we're left to believe that that kind of thing is the perfect expression of love. What those ads and even culture itself distracts us from is seeing that this is a crazy number, y'all, the nearly 1 trillion, not billion, $1 trillion that we Americans spend on Christmas could have ended world hunger 25 times over. Consumerism, or what I call consumeristmas, distracts us from realizing that the money spent on Christmas gifts online alone, just the ones online, could have easily have provided everyone in the U.S. with health care. You see, it's easy. It's easy to lose focus, or it's easy to just focus on the immediate gratification of our loved ones. To see the joy on their faces and to feel the warmth that wells up inside of us when we do, and then call it love, because, well, in many ways it is. But it's really only a small part of Christian love, of spiritual love. You see, the problem with consumerism is not that the problem with consumer is that it not only leaves a lot of folks out, but it hurts more people than we usually manage to realize. It favors the wealthy and the well-to-do over those who struggle to put food on the table. It favors those in industrialized nations over those in third world countries. It promotes those who already have plenty in getting more, and unintentionally leaves those with so very little getting less and less and less. Religions across the world, as well as human secularism, teaches us that we need to learn to love more fully. It's easy enough to love those who are close to us, but we're encouraged to grow in love, to spread it wider, to extend it to all people, even to people we don't know, even people we don't like. Truth be told, it's a lifetime pursuit. After all, there's always space to make room for more love. So how do we refocus our lives to move away from consumeristmas and focus more on a true meaning of Christmas, a love for all? How do we move further away from lives of consumption towards a life more compassionate, more loving? Amidst all of this season's consumption, groups like AdventConspiracy.org are advocating for a change from consumption to a more compassionate, more loving life. What if this Christmas season, we move away from the more narrowly focused expressions of love that comes with consumerism and move towards ways of sharing a love that is more broad in focus? What if, in addition to giving presents to our family and friends, what if we put that same amount of time and effort that we put into spending and shopping for them? What if we put that effort into spending time with them, the same amount of time with friends and family, giving them our presence, our physical presence, rather than substituting it with our bought presence? Take it one step further. What if, rather than spending all of that money on each other, what if we spent part of it on those who already have too little? What if, as one of our gifts to our friends and family, instead of fulfilling their perceived needs, we filled the real needs of people around the world? Just like we're doing as a church. You see the cow on the back table, the stuffed cow back there, where you have the opportunity to help contribute to sending a cow to a family or to a community who will be able to use that in a way that will sustain them for a while. Or maybe send bees to someone in Uganda. It's actually simple enough to do. We're using PresbyterianGifts.pcusa.org. You can also go to heifer.org to find out other ways you can do it. You'll be amazed at all of the options that are there. And I can promise you that the Xbox Series X video console that you might buy for that grandchild will be yesterday's news when it comes to the next Christmas. But that milk cow and those honeybees, which you can help provide for $50 or less, will be providing much needed nutrients in years to come. Maybe you don't feel like you can just give your money away, even if it is for a good cause. And in financial times like this, it's not surprising many of us really can't. Just keep in mind that if it's bad for us in the world's richest nation, it's probably worse for others around the world. So here's an alternative idea to gift giving directly. How about micro loans? Groups like Kiva, that's KIVA.org, are pulling together smaller or even large amounts of money from those of us who have it to help out those who have less. And it ends up being an opportunity for those in third world nations or those going through difficult times to intervene on their own through hard work and take out small loans that they then can pay back later. It changes lives in a way that they wouldn't have been able to because they wouldn't have had access to those loans any other way. So does all of this mean that I'm suggesting that there should be no presents to open around the tree this Christmas and that we all just have to sit there and talk, heaven forbid? Seems horrible, doesn't it? Well, that's actually not at all. That's not at all what I'm suggesting here. Over and beyond, you can give cards about the gifts that you have purchased in someone else's memory or in their honor. There are other things that we can do to let folks enjoy Christmas along with us. There are plenty of other ways that don't mean throwing inordinate amounts of cash at the large companies that frequently, through questionable production and employment practices, take advantage of those who are struggling around the world. So instead of doing that, consider buying experiences like plays and live performances, or even give the gift of your time through pet sitting or going somewhere special together. And doing all of these kinds of things that I am listing, not only will you be helping those in need, but you'll also be doing your part to resist the systems of domination that help keep the underserved in their place. You'll be practicing a larger love, which religions around the world teach us we are supposed to practice. So if you have more than you need, I'd like to suggest that you share with those who don't have enough. Begin dismantling systems that support consumption and domination. And instead, be the love that we are encouraged to grow. I'm simply suggesting that we should stand more strongly in our convictions and start looking critically at the consumer-oriented system out of which we all tend to operate, whether we want to or not. As much as we can, we should stop shopping at stores that get their goods from places that require workers to perform for little pay in substandard and sometimes unhealthy working conditions. We should work diligently to stop buying food from places that take advantage of migrant workers, overlooking their human rights in their effort to provide cheap food. We should stop allowing our consumer-oriented lifestyles to destroy our environment. We should show compassion to workers around the world by buying fair trade goods. And if you're not aware of where or how, just go to fairtradeamerica.org and you can find out plenty about it. We should do that so that we can be assured that no one is being dominated or taken advantage of because of our financial support. We can practice love that large. This Christmas, Let's honor the season. Let's truly honor it by giving the world the greatest gift we can give it. Love. Let's take a stand against our consumerism-oriented system and adopt instead a more loving system of compassion. Education's the first step, so go learn about things like fair trade goods and Advent conspiracy, and start living an even more compassionate and loving life. This Christmas, let's give the best we have. Let's deny the shallow consumerist disposition of the systems of domination and leap into the depths of a life lived in a more compassionate and loving way. This Christmas, let's begin living lives that will allow us and people around the world to have a taste of what the real Christmas spirit is. come to a time now where we are invited together to turn inwardly, individually, in a time of prayer, a time of meditation. Bow your heads and receive these words. In the midst of our preparation for Christmas, we are reminded of those who find it much more difficult to find joy in the season. We are reminded of those who live in places where they struggle to find clean water to drink, food to eat, a safe place to sleep at night. We are reminded of those here in the U.S. who don't have enough food to make it through the week or even through the day. Those who don't have a roof under which to sleep. Those who have had their lives turned upside down because of illness. Those who believe life will never be the same because of the death of a loved one. May we remain mindful of them this holiday season. May we seek out ever-increasing ways to share love with them. May we be encouraged to re-envision what Christmas has become and to practice it more humbly with love for all of creation. Amen. Receive this blessing. Know that we are one together with creation. May your life be blessed with love and happiness, and may you share that love and happiness with all those you meet.